When did you first have the idea of thinking about gender fluidity for you? When did you first say, you know what, I don't want to be inside this box?
I think I was in middle school. Yeah.
Middle school? Do you remember like what happened? Like what did you see?
I didn't see anything in particular. It was just kind of like, hi, you're not a girl. I don't know. And it's like I didn't really understand the stuff behind it. Like I didn't really know a lot about the queer community or like things like that, any of its history, whatever. It just kind of dawned on me like I was different, I guess.
Different in the sense that you just were like, I'm not in that box. Whatever that box is, I'm not in that box. And Adi, how about you?
So I kind of started thinking about it like rather later. It was like probably last year, to be honest, because I grew up in India, and in India, like usually you never think about these things because it is so like you have to like follow like be masculine, like you have to be a part of the performative masculinity in order to like show that you're a guy, and like it's like not really accepted in India. So it took me a lot of time to like come to terms with it by myself, and like that happened like last year. Like when I was a kid, I was like, I guess I didn't do a lot of stuff that like the kids that my guy friends used to do. Like they loved watching WWW. What is it called? The wrestling. WWE.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
WWE.
Dude, that is such a gay sport, man. You ever watch? I went to WWE.
Yeah,
Like their faces are in each other's crotches, and like, oh my god. I just assumed they were all gay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I just never liked it. I mean, I was like, yeah, you can watch WWE, and I used to just go to a like separate room where no one used to be, and I used to like watch Barbie Fairytopia because that is so cool. I feel like,
But
like
listen-
it has such a good storyline.
But there is an active queer community in India.
There is, and it receives a lot of hatred.
Yeah. Okay.
So because I did not want it to face that hatred, and I was a kid, I used to do all of it like alone in like a room where
Okay.
nobody used to see me.
Okay.
But when I came here, I got the opportunity to like kind of come to terms with it myself, and I met a lot of queer people, which was really helpful.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, you know what? Gender is like, it's something like what gender has become. It is like it prescribes what you should do rather than recognizing who you are.
Yeah. Oh man.
Looking back, there were like a lot of signs, but I didn't realize them when I was a child. So like, I've come to terms with myself, I think when I was still in uni. So like 3 years ago, something around that, I just became a lot more open. I met a lot of people, and I was like, well, if they cannot belong and be fine, I cannot belong also. As for me, the idea that you can judge people by their genitals is really weird.
So what Adi said, and what both Adi and Sev said resonates with you.
Yeah.
How common is it in Russian, to use non-binary pronouns, so they and them?
Not that common. I mean, in Russian, I mostly use he, him, because Russian is a very gendered language grammatically.
Okay.
Every word is gendered. You can't just say, I do things. It always implies gender of the person speaking. So saying they, them, using that in Russian, it's really difficult. So it's not that common even in I don't know, even in trans community, I'd say it's not that common to use they them.
So do people then think about this it's a big conversation here in the United States. So therefore, when you say, no, they, them, that's fine for me. I sometimes or use they, them pronouns. Is that when you're speaking English then and speaking to Americans more so?
I just like, when I initially thought about my identity, I was like, well, I want to use he, him pronouns, and that was my like starting point. And then I was like, well, he, him is also a box, it's a different box, but it's still a box. So
Yeah.
I'm finding ways to implement they, them into Russian. But for now, I mostly use that in English, and I started in English because it's easier and I understand it a bit more how to use it in English. So I'm like, it's my training ground, and then I'll come to Russian.
I think that it's all really fluid. Sexual orientation, we say, gay, lesbian for women down here who are just oriented in their natural attraction toward people who identify as women. Gay men just have a natural orientation to be attracted to feel some kind of way about people who identify as men. And then in the middle is everybody else, bisexual, pansexual, so bisexual, so when we think about this, it's bisexual would be a person who's attracted to either a man. There are so many definitions of this, but I'm going to give you the one that I think is generally accepted. You would be attracted to a man or a woman, or you would be attracted to a man. Pansexual is like, I'm not even doing the binaries. I'm not even doing the boxes. I'm just going to be attracted to anybody for any reason whatsoever. It doesn't matter to me. And I have this idea that in truth, most of us are probably really pansexual or bisexual, because in any given situation, we can be attracted to anybody. And most of us are not, because we've been trained and taught that certain things should be our attraction. So as a boy, I was taught, hey, naturally, the socialization in my life was just pushing me to be attracted to women. And the girls around me, where the socialization was pushing them to be attracted to women. But in fact, if left to our own devices, and if we didn't socialize, far more of us would say, I would just really rather use they, them pronouns, because I don't want to be inside a box, because I'm not really inside of a box. I actually want to be free. I would rather be free to express myself in the way that I would like to express myself. And I would be free to be attracted to a man when I want to be attracted to a man, and be attracted to a woman when I'm about to be attracted to a woman. And most of us would, if we would be attracted if we allowed ourselves. If everyone did a test for a year, I'm going to refer to myself not with male pronouns, but with non-binary pronouns, they, them. And I wonder if I did that for a whole year, and if everybody called me, used they, them for me, what would I discover about me? About who I am? Who is Sam Richards? Like,
You would discover that you're comfortable with they, them pronouns.
yeah.
I mean, that's it. Like, using they, them pronouns doesn't mean like, oh, wow, I'm non-binary now, like whatever.
Uh-huh. But it means I'm not locked inside of a box somehow, and so therefore my thoughts and feelings can go to places that I didn't imagine they could go to.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would open them to a lot of new experiences, which it did for me. Like it would open them to a lot of new experiences is what I'd say. Because you've been conditioned to think that if you're a man, you have to like act a certain way or do something. Mm-hmm. But if you try to experiment and do the things that you like for like whatever time period you want to do, and you're comfortable with it, I guess you've grown as a person because of that.
So you are an example of a person who's sort of came out of the closet. But coming to the United States, there's a way in which you
Yeah.
came out of the closet.
Yeah.
And what have you discovered about yourself?
Oh, I like myself like this way better. Like, I mean, I'm still in the closet in India. So it's really fun when I go back to India because I'm not like this when I'm
Yeah.
in India. So I feel it's just, I feel like when I'm being myself, I can express myself way better. Like, I feel like I can be very genuine. I can be funny. I don't have to worry about acting a certain way because if I did, I would get in trouble. So I don't have to worry about that when I'm here. But when I'm in India, I have to kind of think about it.
And Sev, you had the opportunity to grow up in a culture that's much more accepting.
I mean, I'm like American, I'm African American, but I'm also like not American because both of my parents are immigrants. So like that, like it might seem like just because I grew up in America, that's like how my household was, but it
Yeah.
wasn't really like that. So my dad is Nigerian, and while Yoruba, he's part of the Yoruba tribe, and while Yoruba is like a very genderless language, the culture really is not, and like, you know, before colonization and things like that, it wasn't like that. But now that like happened, that's just how it is now. And, you know, there are like traditions that my dad and my mom are just like, you have to adhere to this, like, because that's just how it is, you know? Like, there's no like questions about it or whatever. It's just like that's how it has always been for them. So that's
Yep.
how it should be for me.
Which is ironic, right? Because it's the introduction of Islam and Christianity into Nigeria that really shifted that. Yeah, because that's not traditional African cosmology and spirituality. Much more accepting, as in India, same thing.
Oh no! So India is so. I'm talking only about my experience. Like it's getting a lot better in India for the queer community. But like before India was colonized, like Indian culture was so accepting of the queer
my God.
community.
Yeah.
Like we even have a transgender god
Yeah.
that people pray
Yeah.
to. Like even now, but after Britishers came, they like put like Section 377, which is like criminalization of any homosexual activities or whatever. And after that, like it just like put us behind after the colonization. But before that, like even in like the Kama Sutra, they have a lot of same-sex.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were really accepting, but then, yeah, Britishers.
Yeah, listen, that's the Brit. Leave it to the Brits and the Americans.